Now Chris, come over here. Apparently these guys here up near Valentine here on the Granite Belt, I hear they've won some pretty mega prizes in the last couple of days, so I reckon we should go in and give these ones a bit of a whirl too.
I think so. Now we're at Symphony Hill Wines, won a lot of trophies, a lot of gold medals, more gold medals than Michael, Klim, Ian Thorpe all put together. Now they produced a really superb Shiraz as well, a great Queensland Shiraz. We've been waiting years for a great Queensland Shiraz, and this is one of them. Let's go and find out.
Okay, let's do this.
Okay, we're here with Ewen Mcpherson, the owner, is that right, of Symphony Hill Wines?
Yes.
Thanks for having us here today, Ewen.
Oh, my pleasure. Owner, mortgage payer, whatever you'd like to call it.
One of the things we've seen here, well planned, professional, but you still must have that gambler's urge to actually branch out, dive into having a vineyard and a winery.
Well, that was 15 years ago when the gambler's urge was at its maximum. And that's petering out over time, and I'm becoming a lot more making sure we make a profit each year now, and which is a great place to be in, because it is the wine game, as you know, takes about a decade before you can in the black, and particularly the way we're doing it, where we're looking forward, planning and aiming for some of Australia's best wine, which doesn't come overnight, and the actual financial returns of such an adventure certainly don't come overnight, but we have had some great early success. Our first vintage got top gold at Royal Sydney, and I thought, wow, that's very easy. And,
so you started off well.
Which was great, but now things just keep going better and better. As the vine age increases, the wines are getting more and more complex, and we're continuing to get some great nods from judges and wine critics. And
so what was going through your head when you when you saw this and you got this germ of the idea saying, I can do this?
Well, it was, as you say, a gamble or a step of faith. It was. I did a degree in viticulture. It was like a midlife crisis at 30, which means I haven't got long to live. If I die at 60. But yeah, basically, I was ready for a change. I had small kids. I wanted to them to grow up on acreage like I did, and I was ready to go back to uni and learn something completely different to the computer science degree that I did. And I love drinking wine. I thought I'd have a crack at looking into how it's grown and how it's made. And so I did the degree in viticulture. And as I was in the course, looking at site assessment, looking at climate and soils, I realised my home state, Queensland, had an area which was really special and totally underdeveloped in terms of potential, which was the Granite Belt, of course. And we're the highest vineyard in Australia. But it's the climate that we get, and we need to be the highest vineyard in Australia because we're in Queensland. And so, yeah, we've just had snow in October, and it's just a little patch of Queensland where people down south say, what, aren't you growing pineapples at the end of the road? They don't grow up here. So yeah, it was a real step of faith to go into a pioneering area in terms of quality that I totally believed in, because the climate said that could be done, and could be done magnificently.
So you studied the climate, and
absolutely.
Everything came back saying yes, it can be done here.
And most definitely, which was exciting. And the first 40 acres I bought because I liked the block. And then I did site assessment and realised I'd lucked it and bought right next door to a fantastic, the area was fantastic altitude and soil and everything, so I then bought next door and across the road, and off we went, so I didn't have to move, which was good. But yeah, it's really that aiming to be the best, make the best one I can. And at age 30, I figured I'd be able to rebuild my life if it didn't work out afterwards. But it is working out, which is really good.
Well, you've got a lot of awards in recent times. They keep coming through for you.
Yeah.
Now you've got obviously a lot of awarded wines, but what's the wine at the moment, just off the top of your head, that's exciting you the most?
It's our flagship. It's our reserve Shiraz. It's from our block where we live, of course, on the vineyard. And whenever we pick the fruit, we get gold at Sydney or Melbourne. And the latest release, 2009, which is just going to Wine Club members at this stage, is just been voted in the top 100 wines of Australia in the Australian Vintages Gold Book. Bob Geddes edits.
That's a great coup for Queensland, having a Shiraz that's in the top 100 wines.
And it's good. And you sit on my veranda, on the left is the Shiraz block, it's in the top 100, and on the right's our Videla block, also in the top 100 this year. So it's great fun to be able to living that sort of dream. So.
Well, that's great. I'll tell you what, let's go and you've talked about a couple of the wines, the Videla and the Shiraz. We might, Jeff and I might just get a quick taste of that, is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you.
No worries. Okay, now this is a wine that just overnight we got 3 trophies. For
That's
this wine.
Z Reserve Petit Verdot 2009.
Yeah, Petit Verdot, grown in the Bordeaux region, where they use it for blending because it's beautiful colour, very soft. And the key to Petit Verdot is getting it right. If you don't get it right, you can get these green tea sort of flavours through the wine. And where we don't have this on our main vineyard, we have this at a vineyard 300 metres lower down on the Granite Belt, just to show the differences in terroir just in the Granite Belt. So our Pinot Noir and Shiraz are very beautiful, cool climate styles here on our vineyard at 1,000 metres. But around the 700 metre mark, we can get this Petit Verdot, sensational.
Okay.
Have a look. So it won at the New England Wine Show. It got Champion Wine of the Show, Best Red Wine of the Show, and Best Alternative Red Wine of the Show.
Wow.
And you'll see what I'm saying again, the fruit's magnificent, perfectly balanced with the oak and not being override by the oak. And totally different flavours compared to, say, a Shiraz or a Cabernet. You get licorice, dark chocolate. It's a great wine to have in the shed for blending, because 5% of this into an ordinary Shiraz would totally lift it up into something else.
But what you've done a single standalone grape
Yes.
variety with that.
And it also deserves to be seen what it can do.
Yeah.
You get the sense that with its clean white lines and level of preparation that Ewen Mcpherson has it well organised. But at the heart of Symphony Hill Wines is that drive to make great wines.